Healthy Rebel Radio is sponsored by the Healthy Rebel app. 300 plus secretly healthy, delicious, mouth-watering dessert and treat recipes made with all-natural, whole food ingredients. Now available for download on the App Store and Google Play. Find out more details at healthyrebel.com.
Welcome to Healthy Rebel Radio. I'm your host, Dr. David Dizer. I'm here with my Gaming Health Healthy Rebel co-founder, Amy Lane. Good morning.
Good morning.
You smell delicious.
Thank you.
Smell like Starbucks Lemon Loaf.
Isn't it shocking?
Oh my gosh. I love it so much.
I'm obsessed.
Why do you smell like a lemon loaf?
It's the body butter I made this weekend. So, yeah.
It's so good.
Well, so I made this all-natural body butter that's supposed to be amazing at preventing or fading stretch marks. So it's awesome for everybody, losing weight, tightening up, that type of thing. But also it can spread out for teens that are growing, and also ladies that are pregnant or post-baby. I think it's something that all women really should implement into their daily routine. Moisturizing your skin and keeping it supple and moist only helps it, look better, reduce the appearance of scars, and essentially that's what stretch marks are, scars. And gives it that elasticity that it can move and transform and shrink up, whatever it needs to do. But I added vanilla into the recipe, and it just added this. It smelled just like Starbucks.
Oh
Lemon
my gosh,
loaf.
it smells just like a cake, yeah.
We just kept
incredible.
smelling it and smelling it. It's amazing. So it's basically just made up of natural oils, vitamin E, rosehip seed oil, and then some essential oils that are said to be great for the skin, beauty tonics, trusted over the ages, but also lemon. And lemon does lighten and brighten the skin.
Yeah, so you have to wash it in the sun.
So that's the one contraindication, that you don't want to put this on, slather this on, and then go out into the sun, because you could be then photosensitive. So then you could get, say, age spots or sunburn or whatnot. So, I mean...
yeah, it's very cool.
Oh, it's amazing.
So for the base, you got the organic shea butter.
Organic,
fair trade
is really important. Shea butter.
Just pure, that's the only thing in that one.
Yes, pure. And then pure virgin organic coconut oil, and then pure extra virgin olive oil.
Nice. And this recipe is on the blog, right?
Yes. And we just have to edit a couple things this morning.
Great. I'll link it up.
I want to add a couple notes. Now, for anyone that isn't vegan, you could make this recipe thicker by melting some beeswax and adding it to the recipe. Personally, I don't think it's necessary. It is a thinner texture, and especially depending on the climate you live in. But the point is that it's if you want it to be thicker, then you could use less olive oil, more shea butter and coconut oil if you really wanted to. But I think it's perfect the way it is. It really saturates into the skin. The best time to use it is straight out of the shower or bath. Just kind of blot your skin dry, gently dry, and then slather it on, especially onto the areas of concern. So that would be like your hips, buttocks, stomach, sides, breasts, that type of thing. I mean, I put it from head to toe. It's amazing for your feet.
Yeah, you're using it as in replacement for your regular moisturizer, right? Is that?
Oh, yeah. And then I definitely, what I'll even do is, once a week, I'll put my hair in a ponytail and put it on the ends of my hair, work it onto the ends of my hair, sleep with it in my hair for a night, and then wash it out the next day. It's amazing conditioner. It's literally the bomb. So buying the initial ingredients might be a little bit pricey, but you're going to get, from the base ingredients, first of all, I just used what I have in my house, except for the shea butter, and you're going to get many bottles out of it, or just your household olive oil and coconut oil, which I think everyone should have. And then the essential oils you'll have for a really long time, because you only use so many drops. And then you can play with the amount of drops too that you want to have a different scent. But the vanilla doesn't so much have a purpose as it just does that. It just adds a really nice scent.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's
for sure.
And it's cozy and nurturing. And anyway, I think it's a really fabulous.
Now, you opened a few capsules of vitamin E in there.
Yes.
It's potent antioxidant for the skin when used topically, and,
yes.
and good for healing scars anyhow.
Right.
So in prevention, it can be good, and it's, excellent.
And again, you don't have to go and buy vitamin E specifically for that. You can take it in combination with your vitamins if you want, or whatever works out for you. But like I said, the upfront investment, think of the way that you'll use, half of the products in your kitchen, the other half you'll have in your cupboard to make many more batches.
Mm-hmm.
And make sure that you store this in a cool, dark place, because it is all natural. There are no preservatives, and the lemon is photosensitive, so it could go rancid.
There's no preservatives, right?
Right. So either, depending again on your climate, if you run really hot, you might want to store it in your fridge. For myself, I don't have natural light in my bathroom, so it's just perfect in there. It's cool.
Nice.
It's dark. And use it for everything all the time.
Yeah, the ingredients are incredible. Great antioxidant profile. The rose hips, I think, has similar action to rosemary, but they're different.
Yes.
It's stimulating to the skin for healing. And then the oils are good for preventing breakdown of collagen, because it keeps the skin hydrated.
Definitely.
Now, there's other things you want to do to keep your skin healthy, of course, and you listed some of these in the blog post.
Right. So the thing with stretch marks is it's a and the other thing I have to mention in the blog that's one of the edits is that there is a hereditary component to stretch marks. That being said, obviously you have a more chance of getting stretch marks if you've had an unhealthy time in your life with a large amount of weight gain or a large amount of weight loss. So there's certain things that you can do to prevent or reduce stretch marks. And one of them is every day doing this moisturizing. Now, the other things that are really important, we have to remember that our skin is the largest organ that we have. So what's going on in the inside often shows up, and why wouldn't it, on the outside through our skin. So it's kind of like a warning, and we should heed it. So a few things that we can do is drink enough water, stay hydrated. The skin needs to stay hydrated. We all know that if we don't drink enough water, we kind of get chapped lips, our skin, we kind of get those wrinkles around our eyes, we start to look a little older than we are, a little, worn. You can see when someone's dehydrated. So keeping hydrated is really important. Eating high vegetables, high fruit, nuts, seeds, whole grain diet. Nourishing your skin, antioxidants from the inside out. It's just, it is what makes you glow from the inside out. It helps with skin elasticity. Avoiding smoking, obviously that breaks down your skin really quickly. Excess alcohol, and those chemicals or additives, we should avoid those as well. Another thing that is really shown to break down the skin quickly is sugar. So we're talking about white table sugar or high fructose corn syrup. It's shown to break down the skin's elasticity and collagen. That's scary. So another reason, sometimes and there's nothing to be ashamed of, but sometimes we're motivated to do things through vain reasons. I came to weight loss through the pursuit first of wanting to look quote unquote hot.
Right.
Now it changed once I got in through that doorway. So there's never a reason to be ashamed of your doorway, So, if you quit sugar because you don't want to age quickly, who cares? You're only gonna, the benefits are only gonna,
there's gonna be way more benefit than just your skin.
Yeah, don't ever be ashamed by things that, work for you, like those motivators.
And you'll recognize that you can change your genetics by...
Yeah, and then you'll recognize how amazing you feel and like how everything in your life benefits. So, never be ashamed of your motivation. What are some other things
Hormone balancing.
Really important.
And we think that collagen breaks down quicker and doesn't rebuild, more in females because of the hormone changes they go through and how both hormones plummet at once at a certain time. So balancing hormones early in life and keeping your cycles regular is incredibly important. But I'm sure sugar has a role in that aspect of
100%
of collagen changes as well.
Yeah. So I don't want to, say this is a magic on its own thing that you just use this. You
smell like a lemon loaf and all is right.
And just you can smoke and eat table sugar with a spoon.
Yeah, smoking is the worst thing for collagen. Oh my gosh.
And stress.
Yeah, stress too.
Has been proven. So, I mean, that's another reason to zen out and build your zen den and, you know, cultivate that inner peace that's unshakable by outside events.
Mm-hmm.
That's why, again, like, who cares if your motivation is that you want to look youthful? Who cares? Use it. If that works for you, if you're like, you know, I would like to look fresh. I'd like people to say to me, my God, you look beautiful. You look healthy. Use that as your motivation. Whatever works for you. And as you go on your journey of health, it'll deepen and it'll, you know, take roots and it'll become something more spiritual and more grounded, and the motivation will only grow. But so in saying all that, you know, these other things are components that if you are serious about having beautiful skin or preventing or fading stretch marks without going to extremes, using this body butter every day is a staple. It's a tool and it should be used. End of story. It's awesome. And if you do have stretch marks and you have taken, you know, a year of doing all the lifestyle changes and, you know, committing to using the natural body products, and you're still really concerned and upset about the condition of your skin, you know, there are amazing lasers out there today.
There are.
There's no reason that if something is making you absolutely miserable, you know, you can go talk to a dermatologist. There are options. There are options. So, of course, I always want everyone to do the most natural route first. But if something's making you feel bad about yourself and causing you stress, I think that's worse. So, you know, you could talk to your dermatologist about that as well.
I mean, cold laser as well. It's cold laser is used in varicose veins where collagen breakdown in the vascular system happens. It's used in cellulite. It's used in a few different ways. I haven't used it in stretch marks, healing stretch. I've used it in deep scars. I should say that. Deep scars for sure. Changing the color, but it doesn't completely get rid of them.
Yeah, and we talked about that, maybe running a test on the dark circle.
Yeah, the cold laser under eye treatment.
Yeah, so we'll talk about that later once we get going with that. But this is a tool that definitely should be used.
Yeah, cool.
Keep it in your tool chest.
Definitely. The next topic, well, I mean, the first story of the day, really, is B12 is back in the news. And we haven't really had a B12 discussion on here yet, I don't think, for Healthy Rebel Radio. No. B12 is a vitamin you get from meat. Vegans tend to be quite low in B12 if they don't supplement. That doesn't mean that you can't be vegan, all these things. B12 can be tested through the blood. The recent study that's happening, and I wanted to bring it up today, is that they found that B12 levels in the brain are lower in the elderly. I think we sort of knew that already, but B12 levels are lower in the brain in children with autism and in people with schizophrenia.
Wow.
So it's very interesting research because we know that B12 is used in neuronal health and it's used for the nervous system. It's used for brain function in basically every cellular process in the brain you need B12 for. B12 levels are incredibly important, and when you test them in the blood, they don't always give you the level that you actually are using. So all these people that they tested, this study looked at healthy people, young healthy people, then it looked at elderly, and it looked at people with autism and schizophrenia. They all had normal levels in their blood and decreased levels in their brain.
Wow.
Yeah. It's very interesting.
I just want to say one thing.
Please, no, go ahead. I know you've got lots to say about B12.
I do. I'm very passionate about it because I have had firsthand experience with it. One thing I want to just make a note about, even if you eat meat, that doesn't mean you're safe with B12, especially with the quality of meat that we have nowadays and our inability to absorb due to different allergens that we've got going on. So like other chemicals in food or, you know, funguses or whatever's causing this disruption.
And poor acid production is the other one.
Right. So I've read lots about, you know, vegans being tested at the same time as meat eaters, and due to absorption and quality, you could be equally on the map.
For sure.
Deficient. So, but of course with vegans, because we don't naturally get it, I mean, we get it here and there, like nutritional yeast, but it's never going to be, you know, suffice. So, I'm someone that was B12 deficient. So, I will say, and even to this day, when I feel like my levels are getting low, I feel foggy-brained, and I feel anxious.
Definitely.
You can see it now with me.
Oh, I absolutely can.
So I get kind of like a running anxiety and I can't place it, and I'm like, okay, I'm on my spiritual path, I'm doing my practices, my work is going great, like there's nothing lingering, why am I feeling this way? And then basically you'll be like, look, and like I'll be ready for my B12 shot, I'll get my B12 shot, and honestly it's like I can relax and center and I'm focused again.
It feels lifted.
It's the weirdest thing, and I would not have believed it if it didn't personally happen to me. So in this I can relate to what they're saying. Like, it definitely affects my brain.
Oh, absolutely.
When I'm low. And I think when I was younger, I was probably low. And that probably really contributed to a lot of things that was going on as well. You know? And especially, like, that running anxiety, that you know, feeling that creeps in that there's something wrong, but you can't put your finger on it. And then that foggy brain where you can't solely concentrate on one thing.
Yes.
It was life. And then, I mean, aside from all that, then I had steady energy. I mean, the first time I got a B12 shot, I mean, I think I just ran.
Oh my gosh, I know.
It was like, why have I not been doing this? For
sure.
So if you are deficient, getting a B12 shot is like life-changing.
Oh, and the best thing about B12 shots is, well, B12 is water soluble. What you don't need, you'll pee out.
Right, so it's
and
not...
it's very safe.
So, but I would like you to discuss the two different types of B12, because one, and again, this is from my experience, one burns my skin and feels horrible and I'll bruise. And then the other feels like I don't even know I'm getting the shot, and it feels better to me.
Well, there's actually 3 types
that
are on the market today. There's cyanocobalamin, hydroxycobalamin, and methylcobalamin. Methylcobalamin is the active form we use in the body. So basically, the methylcobalamin is what you would change the first 2 into in the body to use, because then the cobalamin takes the methyl group around and donates it to cellular processes. So if you do cyanocobalamin or hydroxycobalamin, they have to be converted in the body, which can be an issue. Now, what you're describing is the pain from cyanocobalamin, because it's cyanide plus cobalamin, which then the body kicks off the cyanide, you pee it out, and then it combines the cobalamin with a methyl group, which it can then donate to cellular processes.
And I bruise from that as well.
You bruise from that.
It's painful.
Yeah.
It burns.
Well, it's very acidic.
I hate it.
In comparison to the cyanocobalamin, it feels acidic compared to the methylcobalamin, which is a natural form. So the
Isn't it funny though that I can tell the difference, and I like, you won't tell me, and then I'll be like, okay, this feels horrible.
Yeah, definitely. So when you go for an injection, if you do go for one, you want to try and get the methylcobalamin, which most naturopaths will use. Yeah, I mean, the way B12 is absorbed is a major issue, like you were saying, for people. In order to absorb it, you need to eat a food that causes release of stomach acid. So usually that's meat. The stomach acid breaks down the food, but with the acid, when it's released, it releases intrinsic factor, which binds the B12, takes it to the small intestine, and if everything is all good to go there, then you can absorb it in the small intestine. So it's a major process that requires you to be functioning optimally. So, you know, we've been testing B12 levels, and in Canada we have a huge range. It's like the numbers 500 to 1,000, and people will show up with levels of 500 or 400, and they'll be saying, okay, you're fine. Now we know that's not indicative of what's happening in the brain. Which is very interesting. And we've known before that it you know, there's been genetic factors that can influence those levels. Just because you have those levels doesn't mean genetically you're doing the proper thing with the methyl groups from the B12. That's a whole other issue, a methylation issue. But this is very specific, and they could be related. We will see. However, one thing I wanted to mention about the elderly is that the author of the study believes that the elderly levels are lower so that metabolism can stay can have a longer lifespan in the brain. So B12 levels naturally go lower so that you can have slower processing and you can be more resilient longer, which didn't really make sense to me. It was more of a conservation process. But to be honest, I think it's that the elderly don't absorb well. They don't tend to eat well. Tea and toast, you don't get any B12 from tea and toast.
Generally speaking, the tea and toast diet isn't a...
Which is not all elderly people, but it's very common in especially in our society.
100%.
That B12 would be low. And my gosh, you're right. When I give B12 to people, they feel... That
need it. Yeah.
Oh, the people that need it, they feel it.
So what you would do is you would go to, say, your naturopath to get the B12 shot, and you can either get it in your buttocks or your shoulder. Now, I always used to get it in my tush, but lately I find my shoulder less, like it doesn't feel like anything, so I've just been doing that.
Well, it depends. The way we normally figure this out is by how much fluid we're injecting. So if you're doing 1 cc of B12, you can just get it in your shoulder if you have enough muscle there. It's pretty simple. Pretty much everyone does.
Yeah.
If you're doing 2 or 3 cc's, which would include B9, maybe a B complex, maybe a B6, if you go beyond the 1 cc, you want to do it in your hip or your tushy where there's a little more there's a little more muscle mass there.
Yeah.
But it's easy and quick.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of the research, if you look through this, you'll see, okay, sublingual B12 capsules are equally absorbed compared with B12 injections. But again, these studies use the blood level testing to figure out what the absorption is. And these studies are always done on healthy people.
Well, and I kind of had this argument publicly with a doctor that, for whatever reason, felt the need to comment on my personal experience. And he was basically telling me I was wrong that... See, I took B12 supplements.
As a vegan, you were taking B12.
I was.
Yes.
And I took it for probably, I don't know, 5 years before I ever got the shot.
The first 5 years as an adult, I would say you were probably taking it.
And once I got the shot, it's non-debatable that I felt way better. So this GP was like, studies show that there's no difference between, the supplement and the injection. And the argument is, I'm telling you as a person that I use myself as kind of like the guinea pig here to let people know there was a difference that is undeniable in my anxiety, in my foggy brain, in my energy levels. It's not a debate. And this is a person that doesn't have a B12 deficiency, never has, and is just looking at studies. So studies are awesome, and we rely on them for data. But, there's also the truth of how you feel.
There's the truth of how you feel, but now we know that your blood levels, they probably didn't change, but the tissue levels in your brain, they changed for sure.
Right.
And, looking at this new research, that's why I love it. Because, in science we can constantly be evolving and growing, and we can, we can take these, you're very centered and you know how you feel when you do something.
Yes.
And now we can take this stuff and bring it, to the masses.
Right.
Okay, I'm feeling this, and this proves that this can happen on a large scale.
And my debate with this GP was, if someone does have B12 deficiency and they're taking a B12 vitamin, don't deny them of the shot if they want to try it, if they still feel like they're lacking. Because if they get that shot and they feel amazing, what in the heck is the harm?
Exactly. There's no harm. You pee it out if you don't need it.
Literally.
It's very cheap.
So, I'm all about people feeling amazing.
Me too.
And I think that shouldn't be denied to anybody. So...
Now, in neuronal dysfunction, so in anxiety, different challenges like brain fog, that type of thing, if you want to try them, if you're vegan,
what about depression?
Sure. Depression is used all the time. The normal protocol would be once a week for 4 weeks, and then you start spacing out once every 2 weeks if you're finding value from it.
Right.
And you can, after the first one, you can either feel completely energized or completely relaxed, depending on what you need.
And that's exactly it. And that's undeniable, those results. It was not placebo for me. No. It's a fact.
Well, I have people tell me, okay, listen, I got the B12 shot, I went home and I went to sleep and I slept 12 hours.
Yeah, that's the first time I had the Myers cocktail.
That's right.
With the B12.
The B12 was after the magnesium in the Myers.
Everyone had said, when you get a Myers IV, you're going to feel energized and you're going to feel whatever. And I was just in this cozy little... And you're like, are you okay? And I was like, I'm so relaxed. I can't handle it. I was just in this zone I had not felt that relaxed in so long. So obviously I deeply needed the magnesium.
Yes. When you top up these levels, the body does with them what the body needs.
Right.
So in an anxiety state with low B12 in the brain, you give B12 and all of a sudden when someone goes home, they go to sleep, they have a nice sleep.
Right.
It's like, oh, I didn't get anything done last night. Okay, well, you needed a rest.
Right.
It's excellent. Whereas some people will come, vegans who I see who have come with, chronic fatigue syndrome or things like this, and they've been vegan for 20 years and haven't had B12. You give them B12 and all of a sudden they have all this energy.
Right.
So it's completely different. It's really interesting.
So I want to also take a moment to say, obviously we or maybe it isn't obvious, we believe that doing things in the most natural way possible is first of all the best option. So through food, lifestyle, exercise.
Yes.
These things are for those that need it outside, can't get to that good place just through those means.
Right.
So, and the reason that nowadays, we may be more in need of these things is because our food quality has gone down.
Mm-hmm.
Our absorption is a hot mess.
Mm-hmm.
And our anxiety levels and stress and environmental stress is higher than I would say ever.
Yes.
So that's why now we rely on these external things to help us kind of get back to the basics.
Mm-hmm.
But, I don't believe in relying on these things, if you don't need them.
No.
We always want you to just, do what's necessary, unless you are feeling any of these things and you think you may be deficient.
Absolutely.
That's why I just have to say that if you feel you may need a B12 shot and then you do need one and you get one, it's game changing.
Game changing.
So,
Well, I mean, we're also living longer than ever. We're also expected to function higher than humans have ever had to function.
And I've seen people that need a B12 and were basically in like a foggy depression state,
mm-hmm.
and then get B12 shots, get to a healthy level, and it completely lift.
Completely.
So, I mean, what if that was the truth for somebody and it's that simple and that's that easy? Why not look at that doorway?
When it's that easy.
Right? Before,
mm-hmm.
why not check into that before going to other...
Exactly.
So, anyway, we're just here to tell you.
We're here to tell you about B12.
Well,
exactly.
To share the truth, the things that I know for sure through my life experience.
Definitely. Definitely.
And you through the facts.
No, I've had B12 shots before too, and I love them.
Yeah.
I love them.
Mm-hmm.
That's Healthy Rebel Radio, episode 15. Thank you so much for listening, and have a great day.
See you.
Healthy Rebel Radio is presented by the online health and wellness center, DamieHealth.com. Since 2009, Amy Lane has successfully coached thousands of women through her signature program, the Bikini Body Program. Join today to work exclusively with Amy to unveil your greatest yet to be from the inside out. Go to DamieHealth.com for more information.
Thank you for listening to Healthy Rebel Radio. Please connect with us on our community pages on Facebook, Pinterest, and Instagram, all at the handle @DamieHealth. For weekly recipes, articles, and all our episodes straight to your inbox, join our newsletter at damiehealth.com. You can find all the links discussed in today's episode in the show notes. Thank you for joining us and see you tomorrow.